deal. And before I met Crystal, I just ended a 5-year, extremely codependent relationship. And it ended...
I ended a 7-year extreme, so I'm with you.
Yes. And my relationship ended in great sorrow and sadness. And I went into 3 months of deep prayer and introspection. And I was, working with Archangel Michael every day, and I was working with beloved Master Saint Germain. And Saint Germain came into my ears a few times. He said, "Artemis, relax. There's a girl out there looking for a guy just like you. Relax." Relax. And I'm like, whatever, right?
And she's really close.
And she was 2 blocks away. And by divine synchronicity, Crystal and I met each other, and we weren't even attracted to each other at first. We got to know each other for the first 3 to 4 months. And one thing about sacred co-empowered union and resurrecting some of these old patterns of codependence into co-empowerment through how you speak to each other and how you interact. When you find a partner who's willing to do this with you, be ready for an accelerated spiritual path, because everything other than the pure sacred union will come up for clearing.
My beloved is my clearest mirror. Anything I have in me that's subconscious and ready for clearing comes out, and often he shows it to me. Of course, it's subconscious, so I think he's being a jerk. So when I realize, wait a second, there's a story to this. There's something I'm learning from this. There's something coming up to clear and resolve. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I love you.
So one of the first, most powerful tools we can share that we learned from our high agreements and conscious agreements through mastery systems and conscious language is be a committed listening. Be a committed listening, not a committed listener, a committed listening, actively listening to your partner when you're interacting every day. And if an old pattern of anger or blame or sadness or something comes up in your interaction, acknowledge what your partner is saying is true for them in the moment. And so, sometimes when our partner is speaking to us, we have this internal dialogue like, well, I know what's better, so I know what's true, so I'm just going to not even pay attention to their truth and go, yeah, but, and come right in and say my truth because I'm right.
Or I already have planned what I'm saying next, so I'm just kind of watching his mouth move and waiting for the pause so I can, right,
yes.
make my point.
So be a committed listening with your partner. And if you find yourself in the Huna teachings, they talk about akka chords. And codependency creates a very sticky love. And so we start reaching out these etheric cords and attaching to our partner, and love becomes very sticky because our happiness, our joy is dependent on them instead of our own connection to I am that I am. So if you find yourself in codependent loops or codependent patterns, invoke the Archangel Michael into your life and say, "Beloved Archangel Michael, come into my life and cut any and all cords that bind me, for I am sovereign and I am free.
And I am that I am.
And I am that I am." And you may be required to do this daily until you start recognizing all the old speech patterns. And
you may be required to do it multiple times during one conversation.
Yes, yes, and work with the blue flame love of God's will and courage and faith when you're choosing your sovereignty and your co-empowered union. And it's such a powerful way to get clear again and come from a place of freshness in your relationship and see your beloved with new eyes. Be a committed listening in relationship. And whenever and Crystal and I are very strong people, and we do sacred work. We've been facilitating massage and coaching and counseling for 5 years together as sacred partners. And we've spent a lot of our time together intimately in coaching and facilitation, and also in our own spiritual process of evolution. And when conflict arises, and it does sometimes, more words count less when you're in conflict. More words count less. And that's actually from the Tao. It's an ancient Chinese wisdom. More words count less.
And that's true, especially when we're entering role playing. So I can look back on our relationship, actually for the past maybe first 3 to 4 years of our relationship until recently, until 2009, and I can see, wow, there are times in our relationship when I was playing student to my teacher. And there are times in our relationship when I'm playing parent to my child. Now, teacher, parent, student, and child. And there are times when we come together and we create discussions together, or we do coaching together, or healing sessions together. Well, the teacher and the parent, they have this power clash sometimes, and there's this intersection in the middle. So it brings up many opportunities for us to transmute our story. And sometimes seeing those patterns of, oh, wait a second, I tend to count on him to be the teacher while I tend to step into the student role, and I'm not really holding my light when I do that. I choose to know I'm the master also, and I choose to shine, and he appreciates it when I do that.
Yes, and it's been a profound learning process for us to allow each other to stand in our own light, in our sovereignty, and authentically love each other and listen to our truth together. It's so beautiful. Co-empowered sacred union is so many octaves above what we've witnessed in our past in terms of modeling this, and being in sacred union and co-empowered partnership is so much fun. There's so much more authentic joy and love that emerges because you're already fulfilled. You're not seeking your happiness outside of yourself, nor is your partner seeking her happiness from me. And in that place, divine joy and non-causal bliss and love begins to emerge because we're already fulfilled. So what we're giving to each other is our gift from God in us and through us.
And still sometimes we find since I'm mirroring back to him the most unconscious parts of what he's hidden from himself, and he's mirroring back to me the most unconscious parts of what I've hidden from myself, there are still times where we find ourselves right in the middle of a heated conversation. And that's the time where we call on, if Archangel Michael's appropriate, we'll call on Archangel Michael. We can also use violet flame. So we use violet flame often to transmute whatever we're in the middle of, so we can then consume it and start fresh. And very important as we begin that conversation is we stop in the middle of whatever discussion's going on and we breathe. So it takes one of us being strong enough to say, oh, look where we are, here's what's going on. I request we just stop and breathe. And then we commit to each other to actually breathe and come back into our center and then proceed from there.
Rhonda?
What you are describing is very much, I think, can be applied to all relationships, not just
Yes.
men and women.
Yes.
So Rhonda,
I see those same interactions interplay with other people in my life.
Yes.
Yes.
Your family.
yes. Yeah,
Yes.
Rhonda said that those same interactions and these same tools apply to all of our relationships in life.
Yes.
And I agree.
And we're here to highlight the concept of transforming codependence into co-empowerment in the New Age family. And we have one family on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
There is one family on our beloved planet. It's humanity. And it's good to have practice with your partner. And then as you start to heal some of these old patterns, then it translates into every other relationship in your life, in business and community, in commerce, in sacred commerce, in our ecology, in our government. So this wake up is huge. It's seen in the eye too. As our sclera pulls away from the pupil, we start developing clear boundaries in our lives. And we begin to see our world clearly. We're not seeing through the eyes of codependency anymore. We're seeing through the eyes of our empowered, sovereign I am that I am, loving, wholly and completely everyone we see,
So
authentically.
I mentioned earlier what's very beneficial for feminine, for females in our relationships, to be very sure and true of who we are and make clear and direct requests of our partners. That's actually beneficial for both partners. And
for men, my process in the past year, ever since I developed the tools to identify some old patterns I had and resurrect, codependency and co-empowerment, one of my most powerful tools as a man on planet Earth is to feel my feelings. To feel my feelings. And I mean really feel my feelings. And how many men in the room were brought up with a father who was afraid to feel his feelings, afraid to communicate his heart? Yes, really. I mean, most men and my parents' generation.
I choose to. It's funny because a lot of the men in the room are just going.
Oh yeah.
I'm not raising my hand. He might smack me.
Speak from my heart. Feel my feelings. My dad, no. He'd stick his head in the sand when he got stressed out. He didn't. My dad did not speak his heart, feel his feelings really, and. This is changing on our planet. Men are becoming transparent and integrating the divine feminine to truly feel their feelings. And
Boyd has a comment when you're ready.
I just want to say, our daddy's generation was taught to drink.
All right.